All right. Hello, ladies, and welcome to the Masterclass, How to Start and Grow Your PNCC Agency. So I know a lot of you are already introduced to me. You are more than likely in the PNCC for Boss Ladies group. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And while I am doing this, I am really interested in knowing what made you decide to start your PNCC agency? So what about it intrigued you? I'm just curious, and I like for this to be interactive, but again, make sure that you put it in the chat because I am recording and it'll be a lot going on if everybody tries to talk. So any comments, questions, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. So I am going to go ahead and get started. All right, so who is this masterclass for? And I noticed from the poll, a lot of people are starting and looking into actually starting their PNCC agency. So not too many people had their application in, and not too many people are in the process of growing. So it looks like most people are in that beginner phase of looking into starting their PNCC agency. So this is for everyone who feels confused. So I'm pretty sure you've been to the 4Health site. I'm pretty sure, and if you haven't, you definitely need to, have been looking at the PNCC agency handbook for both PNCC and CCC. And there's just a lot of information out there. And the handbooks are good for telling you what to do, but it does not tell you how to do it. So it can leave a lot of people confused. It can also leave a lot of people out of money because you can try to interpret it. You go ahead and put your application in, you pay that application fee, and then you're denied because you missed something. So the whole process can be very confusing. This is for those, again, majority of you guys on here who are new. So you never had this business before. For some people, this is your first time even hearing about it. So you probably wasn't a client. You probably didn't work as a case manager or a care coordinator. And you just heard about the PNCC agency and you felt that this is something that you have a passion for. You like helping women, you like helping pregnant women. So you are very new to this agency and what it is. This is also for those who need a mentor. So maybe you have started yours and it's still confusing. It's still, again, that handbook is really good for telling you what to do, but it doesn't give the how. So a mentor is a great person to have that can help you on this journey. My biggest part of this process of me educating, a lot of agencies, so you might know that I've been in this business for over 11 years now. A lot of agencies from back then that we actually got training from the auditors, we've been doing this, a lot of those agencies have closed. And there are a lot of new agencies that are interpreting the handbook the best to their ability, because again, there's no training, but it's not too many people in the field right now that's been doing this for over 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So it's great to have a mentor that has that background, that has that experience. And then this is also for those who want to scale. You have your business and you feel like you know what you're doing and you want to scale it to help more women. And let's be honest, we are all business people. We help women, and when we help women, our business grows. So nobody wants to have a business that's not profitable. That doesn't make sense. Now, when we're profitable, then the plan is, what do you do with that money? So if you plan to make 6 figures, or if you plan to make 7 figures, what then will you do with that money to also still help your community, to also still help your client, not just lining your pocket? So you want to scale? Let's talk about how you can scale your business and still have a great impact on the community. So our schedule tonight, we are going to go over, and this is going to be great for you guys who are new. We're going to go over some best tips for your application. We're going to go over best tips for your business. We're going to, and business in general, we're going to go over best tips for running your business as a PNCC agency. And then we're going to go over best tips to scale your business. So my promise to you guys, by the end of this webinar, you'll know the best tips to start and grow your PNCC agency successfully. And you're going to see me say successfully a lot, especially when I do my lives in the group, because you can grow this business and grow it to whatever number you want to grow it to, and you could be doing it all wrong. And you don't find out that you're doing it all wrong until the state come in and does an audit, and you then owe majority of that money back. So my goal is for that not to happen to you. I don't want you to go and make 6 figures and then you have to pay 80,000 of it back or 50,000 of it back. We don't want that. What was the point then? You worked hard and now you got to pay it all back. So I want to help people grow their agency successfully and the right way. House rules. I'm pretty sure many of you have done webinars before. I do webinars and masterclass all the time. And the one thing that I run into, if I don't do these things, I don't pay attention, because I am a multitasker. So I'll have the webinar on and I'll be, creating a flyer or, doing some other type of work or cooking, or I don't cook. Let's be clear. Let's be transparent. I don't cook. My husband does, but I'll be somewhere with the kids or doing something. So the house rules for you guys tonight is for you to turn off your cell phone. That might be hard, but turn off your cell phone because it's a distraction. Log off of social media because it's a distraction. Grab paper and pen because you want to definitely take notes, and definitely you want to stay until the end. So have you guys ever felt like this? And I'm pretty sure you have, because again, most of you are new. So some of you might be struggling with that application with no help in sight. So there is a field rep for the PNCC agency. And she is over the southeast portion of Wisconsin. And you can email her and you can ask her questions, but she is going to refer you right back to that handbook. And she's going to give you the code of where it is. Now, that is still great information because, again, you want to live and breathe and be inside that handbook as much as you can. However, again, as I said before, that handbook tells you a lot of what to do, not how to do it. And a lot of it is left up to interpretation, which can get a lot of people in trouble. So, it's a struggle. Have you ever felt like you're not sure who to hire or how to hire a qualified professional? I can guarantee you that is the #1 question that is in my inbox majority of the time. It's about the qualified professional, because that is somebody that you absolutely need to have. And if you have the wrong person, you will be denied. Have you ever felt confused just by looking in the handbook? So in the handbook, it'll have section 1, it can be talking about billing, and then all the way in section 10 is billing continue, and then section 7 is a little bit about billing, but then it's about this. So the handbook can literally be all over the place. So the handbook itself is confusing. And then the whole process is scary, even when you're open and you're going to be audited at certain points. And that's scary. My first audit, I was so scared. I actually ended up in the hospital with chest pains because I was stressing out. I had never, ever had an audit, and it just scared me because just the word audit itself is scary. So my job and why I do this, because I want to help you guys through this. Somebody said the handbook gave you anxiety. Yes, the whole thing can give you anxiety. The handbook is actually located on Forward Health website. So the whole process can be scary. It can be overwhelming, all of that. So the real problem is the state some years ago, like maybe 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, they stopped doing hands-on training. And when I say hands-on training, they actually, and how I got some of my training, they came into our office and they sat down and they walked over a lot of different things and things that we were actually doing wrong. We thought we were doing it right. We were actually doing it wrong. And they came and did that training. Thank God. Because again, when you do things wrong, they ask for that money back. They don't give you a slap on the finger. They don't say, okay, make sure you change this for next time. No, they're coming to get the money back that they gave you. Most people who know what to do, most people don't like to share the knowledge, right? And I'm saying that not because I'm like on the outside looking in. Literally, people come and tell me that. When they find me, they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I found you because I asked so-and-so, I went here, and nobody wants to give the information. Me, I'm an open book. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a teacher by nature. I teach everything that I know because I want to see other people successful. I don't want to be the only person successful. I know that me by myself and my companies, I cannot reach the entire Milwaukee County. So the more PNCC agencies that are out there that are doing this the correct way, the more people we're helping and we're all together collectively changing our community. I don't see it as competition. I've helped so many PNCC agencies open. I've trained them and they're doing an amazing job. And I do not see anybody as competition because what's for me is for me. Right? So it doesn't bother me when I even had contractors who worked for me who went and started their own PNCC agency and I've helped them because I don't have a problem with that. So I'm not like the ordinary person. And then most agencies with the real knowledge are now closed. I've had a lot of peers over the years that closed their agencies because I can tell you one thing, this program definitely has like a timestamp to it because of the audit process or because of just the stress of, clientele changing, the atmosphere changing, this gray cloud that's over it. There is a timestamp on this program. So a lot of agencies from 10 years ago, they're not operating anymore. So I also coach on having multiple streams of income in case something happens with this program, right? Because this program is funded by the government. We're not in control of what the government does. Just a little tidbit, if you've never heard me say this before, years ago, before Scott Walker was governor, I don't remember who was governor, but I believe it was a Democrat. We used to be able to work with the CCC clients for 40 hours a month. Can you imagine being able to work with a client for 40 hours in an entire month? How much you can do with that client? When the scales were turned and then there was a Republican, and I'm not, saying anything about parties, this is just facts of what happened. And Scott Walker got in office, he changed the program and he limited it to 10 hours a month for the CCC program. So if you're not in politics, who is in office is really important. And it's also important to teach your clients about that too. So a lot of agencies from back then, they've stopped having a PNCC program. So the reality is that I coach people who want to start their business and operate, and they've been operating their business for less than 5 years. I've been coaching for 6 years now, specifically PNCC agency. And I bring my experience both from working I started off as a client. I was pregnant with my daughter, my third daughter. Then I was a case manager or care coordinator, depends on which program you're in and how they say it. They're both the same though. And then I was a program manager, and then I opened my own. So I've been in all different points in this business. I've actually gone through an audit before, and I had the hands-on training from an auditor. So I coach because I want to see everybody successful and do this the right way. Right now, if you've been living under a rock, this is the only way you don't know this information. The PNCC program has had bad press for a year now. My goal my heart's desire is to change that, because there are a lot of great agencies out here that are doing this the right way, that are actually making a difference, that are helping clients. And right now, all people talk about is those articles that nobody even know if it's true. Nobody has been prosecuted. Nothing has happened. And yet PNCC program has a bad vibe right now. So I want to help change that. I want to help people grow their business the right way and working with clients the right way, and avoid paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars back in the audit process. So there is a better way than to go through all that confusion, to go through all that anxiety, go through all of that. The better way is to work with somebody who has been trained and has experience and testimonials from mentees. Again, I've worked with so many different women over the past 6 years that I've helped them start and grow their business. So who am I? Again, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this already, but just in case you don't, I always say I'm the wife, the mom, the boss lady. The order is important because my kids probably won't like to hear this, but I'm a wife first, then I'm a mom, then I'm a boss lady. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a business coach. So I actually own 3 businesses. And my plan next year is I'm actually gonna add some more to that. The CEO of Boss Lady University. I own Infinity. I'm an author, a mentor, and I actually own Pretty Princess by JC Kids, which is a kids spa. I've been in the PNCC world for over 11 years. And again, I just told you I started off as a client, case manager, program manager, and then opened my own in 2015. I've actually been an entrepreneur since 2005 when I was pregnant with my daughter. So that's just a little bit so you can know you're taking this masterclass, who's teaching this, just to know a little bit about me and let you know that I actually do know what I'm talking about. So you want to start. Again, this is for those who are new. Who do you need? Well, we know for one, everybody should know this for sure. You need a qualified professional, but what does that mean? Who is a qualified professional? It is not everybody, and it's not, I repeat, it is not every single nurse that you come across. So you might have a nurse, and I've been hearing some crazy stories. You might have a nurse because, nurse found out with so many people trying to open a PNCC agency, they found out they were hot commodity. And so I've seen some outrageous prices where they're like, you have to pay me $1,500 up front, or you have to pay me $600 up front and then $600 when you're open, et cetera, et cetera. But guess what? Not every nurse is a qualified professional that they're looking for you to open. So there are 2 different types of qualified professionals. Okay, and we're going to go over that in just a second. Where this is only Milwaukee County. Now, there are other counties in Wisconsin and actually across the United States. I actually have a student who was in the process of opening one in, I want to say Arizona, either Arizona or Texas, I can't remember. But there are PNCC agencies across the United States. Some of them are just different, like Georgia, they have something similar, but it's not the same audience. So me teaching you, I'm just talking about Milwaukee County because that's my experience. I also know that other counties, they don't allow small businesses like us to actually do it. You have to be a government agency like the WIC department or, like SDC or something like that. Like you have to be one of those government agencies to be able to do it. So Milwaukee County is your best bet as a small business to be able to open your PNCC agency. I have a student right now who's working on Racine, but she has to go through certain channels and, it's just a lot of hoops for her to figure that out. Again, I don't coach Racine though. And then when applications right now, I get this and ask this question a lot. For number one, I am not an employee of the state. So I do not have insider information per se. Now I do have more information than most because I have so many students in different parts of the application process. And, everybody tells me everything because I teach this, right? So I do have more information than most because I have a collective amount of people who come to me with knowledge, but I'm not inside and I don't know exact frames. They don't even know exact time frames. So you can ask somebody, you can put your application in and say, hey, how long is it going to take? And they're going to say, we don't know. And I'm going to say the same thing. I don't know. Also, application fees go up or down January 1st. So I should have looked, but I don't remember. I know it's it's 5 something right now, I think. Whatever the application fee is right now, January 1st, it can change. It can go up or down. And then the entire application process is a process. It's not just fill out an application with your name, address. It's a whole entire process. And it can take a couple of days, weeks, months, depending on, how much time you have to dedicate to it. So, qualified professional. This is in your handbook. And write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you can, but this is the information you need to know. The definition A is actually anybody who works in your agency as a qualified professional. So it can be a nurse, it can be a nurse midwife, it could be a public health nurse, it could be a physician, doctor, it could be a dietitian, but they have to have at least 2 years of community health experience. It could be a registered nurse with 2 years of experience in maternity nursing or community health experience. Again, so if that nurse only worked in the ER, that might not fit. It says, or a combination of maternity nursing and community health services. An employee with at least a bachelor's degree and 2 years of experience in a healthcare or family service. That's me. So I am my own qualified professional. So most people that I hire falls in number 8. When I hire case managers, I'm looking for somebody that is number 8. Okay, somebody who has a degree and 2 years of experience in the community. And then also you have a health educator with a master's degree in health education and at least 2 years of experience in community health. So that is anybody that works in your agency that you hire. Now, if they don't fall in 1 through 9, then they will be considered a paraprofessional. And a paraprofessional needs a little bit more work. They need to be supervised by a qualified professional. Okay, now the most important part of this is B. This is the person that you absolutely need to have. And you see it says required qualified professional to be able to provide prenatal care services that are reimbursable, blah, 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 blah. So this person has to be at least one of the people at top and have the 2 years of experience in coordinating at-risk low-income women. Number 2, it says have on staff, under contract, or volunteer the qualified professional who's going to supervise risk assessment. So that can be, again, anybody at the top. Again, that's because a paraprofessional needs supervision. So they're going to look over the risk assessment, and they're going to be doing the ongoing care coordination and monitoring, making sure that para is doing everything great. Number 3, have on staff, under contract, or in volunteer capacity, one or more qualified professional with necessary expertise. This part is the very important part. And if you could underline it, write this part down, based on education or at least 1 year of work experience to provide health education and nutrition counseling. That is the one person that you absolutely need to have. Your one person needs to be able to provide health education and nutrition counseling. And let me tell you this, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the slides, but you want to leave out the guesswork. That needs to be very clear on the resume. If that resume of your qualified professional does not say anything about health education and nutrition counseling, you're making them guess. We do not want them to guess. It needs to be very clear that this person can do that based on their education and work experience of at least 1 year. So, common question, does it have to be a nurse? No, it don't, because you got 1 through 9 up at the top. Those are all qualified professionals. And if any one of those people can provide health education and nutrition counseling, you're gold. That's who they're looking for. Somebody to provide health education, nutrition counseling. Now you can hire as many qualified professionals as you want, but if not one of those can do health education and nutrition counseling, they're gonna deny your application. So what do you need to apply? We just talked about the qualified professional. Again, making sure that person can teach health education and nutrition counseling. You need MOUs. We all know right now, United Healthcare, they're not signing the MOU right now for new providers. However, the workaround that people are doing, because people are getting approved, the workaround is when the state, and I actually told her, I don't know why it took them this long to figure this out, because it's a simple fix. Once the person is approved, it's a temporary approval. You take that temporary approval, you go to, I think her name is Dana, if she's still there, and you say, hey, I'm approved, I need my MOU signed. She's gonna sign it, then you're gonna go back to your rep and you're gonna give them that signed MOU. So it's an easy workaround, but I am gonna give this disclaimer. Every audit person or person who's assigned your application is different. And I say that because some people might give you a hassle. Some people might not care. So it really depends on who you get, okay? You need a resource list, and we're gonna go over this a little later. Your resource list needs to be very clean and very organized. So again, that your audit person, and I'm gonna just say audit person. When I say audit person, I mean the person assigned to your application, okay? So that your audit person knows that you have everything that they're asking for. You need the letter to the doctors. So wherever your office is, that zip code, you need to find all the doctors in your zip code, and you need to send out a letter to them to introduce yourself, your services, what you're doing, and try to get a partnership with them. Now, again, depending on who you get, some people are fine with you providing a sample of the letter that you send out. Some people want to see all the letters that you send out. I've seen one person who actually wanted like the receipt that you sent it out. But somebody said recently Dana signed the MOU. First they said she would sign until I was approved. Okay, so hey, I don't know. Hopefully she's signing again. We'll see. But yeah, that's a workaround. That's awesome if she is signing. Records. The next thing you need is records showing the racial and ethnic composition. And they give you a list of different options to choose from to be able to show that. You only need to pick one. So don't get confused on that part. You only need to pick one. They give you like 5 options. I show my students the easiest 2 and you partner them together, but you just need one. So make everything plain and simple. And I mean no offense when I say this about the audit people. This is just how my mind works because I don't know them. I don't know the people. I don't know who work there, but this is for me so that I can make sure that I am very clear. I take out the guesswork, everything. So in my mind, I think of my auditor as a very lazy person, a slow person. And again, I don't know this person. I'm not saying that they are, but this is what I put in my mind so that if that person is lazy, I'm not going to assume that they're going to take this page right here and compare it to the page over there. Or I'm not going to assume that they're going to figure out, I really mean this, even though I said this. I don't want to do that. I want to make it very clean, plain, and simple and easy to follow. Okay. And again, I'm not saying, again, I don't know any of the people that work there. This is just for you to make sure that, you know, like you're giving it to a toddler. You want to make sure it's very clear. All right. Now, best tips for your application. Okay. You want to make sure you have a legit business. And this is going to be huge because so many businesses applied last year and a lot of people were denied because they didn't even have proper setup for their business. Because again, PNCC just sounded like a cool thing to do, and nobody was teaching it. So this is a real business. So you have to have your LLC, which is your articles of operation. You have to have your EIN number. You have to have a legitimate business. Now, when I started, even though I've been an entrepreneur since 2005, I did more like MLM. So like I did Avon, I did Mary Kay, I did Melaleuca, I did Beachbody. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just couldn't find my lane and where I wanted to go. And so when I started my PNCC agency, that was a different type of business, right? Like I had to go and get registered. So what did I do? I went and got an EIN number because that's what I thought. That's all that I needed. And they didn't say anything because, again, this was like 7 years ago. So they wasn't really checking for things. My office was in my living room. I had like a little corner desk, and that's where I did my work. They didn't do site visits like they do now. So now you need to separate yourself from everybody else that's applying. So you want to be on your P's and Q's. You want to make sure that you have your legitimate business in operation, like it's a real thing, not just your name or whatever. Number two, you want to have a complete application, because again, depending on who you are assigned to, some people are very, very picky. And you can say, here's my resume. And some people, they will call to make sure that you worked where you said you worked. So if you said that you have 2 years of experience working at another PNCC agency before, you better be able to prove that. Or if you say, whatever, some people are very picky. So when you complete your application, again, make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed when you're completing that application. Because again, the last thing you want to do is be denied for something that's simple and they do not give you your money back. Okay, so if you want to resubmit, you're going to be resubmitting that application fee again. You want to make sure that you have a qualified professional. And I say that because, again, not everybody on that list of 1 to 9 is the person that the state is looking for. They're looking for that person to teach health education and nutrition counseling. Like, you need to have that person. Otherwise, they will deny your application, or they're going to give you a few days and you're going to be scrambling saying, I need somebody. And I get those type of messages too. People in my inbox asking, do I know anybody? Because they need somebody by tomorrow. And I don't have I used to. I stopped giving out referrals because when the state got really picky, I actually gave somebody that I used for my application 7 years ago. She was my nurse. And she came around again. I wasn't using her anymore, but one of my students needed somebody. I gave her, say, hey, you can use her. She got denied and she blamed me. Well, I used her, you know what I mean? So it's not my fault right now. And this, like, the state literally just changed things last year. So yeah, I don't put myself in that position anymore to refer somebody and then it don't work out and then I'm blamed. So yeah, I protect myself. You need to have your MOUs and then have a plan if United Healthcare does not sign. You need to keep it clear and simple. We talked about that, making sure there's no room for guessing. It needs to be 100% clear, okay? You need to have completed resumes. Again, if you're going to say that you work somewhere, they might be calling. So you want to make sure that everything is accurate and can be proved. And I highly recommend a targeted resume. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a resume that's targeted for that specific position. So do not give them a generic resume. You want to go see what they're looking for and target your resume to that. You want to have onboarding paperwork. So again, you are a real business. You want to have real paperwork. So a lot of people would come to me and say, I'm trying to hire so-and-so, but she don't want to give me her social security number because blah, blah, blah. Well, how did you approach her? What's your onboarding? What does that look like? Because People do not have a problem giving their jobs their social security number or address or phone number or anything, because we all know that jobs need that. So it depends on how you present yourself. Are you being professional? Do you have a letterhead? Do you have systems? So you have to have onboarding paperwork for anybody that's going to be a part of your application, because they're going to ask you, especially for your qualified professional, they're going to ask you for the contract. So if you don't have a contract with that person, you need to go have a contract. And I always recommend having a lawyer, working with a lawyer to help you with your contract. It is not as expensive as it sounds. It may be $100 to $200. I forgot the number, but literally it's not expensive. And that is something that you absolutely need to have, because it's going to cover you when things go wrong. Okay. And then you need your NPI number, and that's just a simple application. I always have my students provide extra information. I give them a sheet of just like, say this and talk about this and things like, if somebody works at another PNCC agency right now, what's the plan? If you are not open right now, what's the plan once you're open? Or, those type of things. So like, because they're going to ask you. So when I give my students a list of answer or questions to answer, is giving them all the information before the person asks, and it's going to make you look even better. Okay, you need to have we talked about this, have your resource guide and have it labeled, numbered, labeled, letter, however you want to do it, because they're looking for your WIC, they're looking for doctors, they're looking for Medicaid help, they're looking for domestic violence shelters, like all those different things on that sheet. Have it so if it say WIC, title the thing WIC, and then have a list of WICs in your area, right? If they say domestic violence places, have the title at the top and then a list of those resources. So again, that is making it clear, because I used to give my students just like a handbook, like here's a handbook that's like 20 pages, all the resources in Milwaukee. And then some auditors will come back and say, oh, I need this. I need your resources for this. Well, did you not look at the handbook? Because it's all in there. But again, this is why my perception changed. Just they don't want to look for it. They just want to see it right there and laid out simple, and bam, on to the next thing. So keep it clean and simple. The next thing, fingerprints. You will be surprised how many people were denied because they forgot to do their fingerprints. Once you submit your application, that is the very next step. And they actually tell you, they send you an email, even when you print out your application that you submitted, it's all on there. You need to have the fingerprints done. And no, you cannot use the same fingerprints that, like if you've done childcare or whatever, they do not cross. You got to go do a new fingerprint. And then you want to stay in the loop. You want to get to know your person who is looking over your application. You want to be checking the For Health website. It's going to stay in process for a very long time. And then you want to stay in contact with your qualified professional. A lot of people end up losing contact with their qualified professional. And then when it was time to open and the auditor is looking for your qualified professional, they're nowhere to be found. And now you got to go real quickly find another qualified professional. So you want to keep your person in the loop. One suggestion that I'll give with trying to stay professional is you can just let them know, because they don't have to know your business as you're a new PNCC agency and you're waiting to open. They don't need to know that. You're just waiting for the state to look over their paperwork to make sure that they can work with you. That's something that you can say, because now you're blaming the state, which you are waiting for them, but they don't have to know that you're waiting to open too. You're just waiting for the state to go through their information that you submitted to give the green light. And sometimes it can take a couple of months. So there's that, but just make sure, again, you stay in the loop with your qualified professional. So what about your business? So that's the application process, right? So what about your business? I talk about making sure your business is right, make sure it's set up right. What does that even look like? So again, I'm just always say it, legit business. If you know me, I have a mentorship right now called Girl Get Your Business Right. I am all about people having their business set up correctly. The reason I had this shift is because when pandemic happened, one of my businesses, I did financials. I used to do taxes when it just got too difficult with the pandemic. So I stopped, but I helped a lot of clients with the PPP loan. And I came across so many different women who couldn't get the PPP loan because they did not have their paperwork in order. They didn't submit taxes. They didn't, all their money would go into like Cash App instead of a business bank account. Like they were just doing everything wrong. Not wrong because they had a hobby, but it really was a business. And because they didn't do it the proper way, they couldn't get the money that the government funded to everybody with a business. So my biggest thing right now is everybody that I work with, I want to make sure you have a legit business. You want to make sure you have a website. Now, is this something that's in the handbook? No, but this is something that they look for because again, especially now, they're looking for legit, real businesses. And it's very rare nowadays for you to come across a business with no website. Look at Target, website, Walmart, website, any places, any big businesses, you name it, they have a website. You want to have a website too. YMCA, YWCA, Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, everybody have a website. You need to have a website. You need to have a business address and number. And if you have not done the LLC yet, stop, pause. Do not put your personal address on there. If you did already, a little too late. But if you didn't, thank the gods, do not put your personal address on your LLC, on your MPI, on anything, because once you have it out there, it is very hard to bring it back. And I want to say it's almost impossible. When I started, I didn't know this information. Now, I did not use my personal address because I was a mover. I moved a lot when I was younger. And so I'm like, I need somebody who has more of a permanent residence. My mom lived in Maryland, but my grandmother was in Milwaukee. So I used her address. To this day, her address is still attached to my business, even though I have an office. It's been at least 7 years since I've used her address. It's still out there. But you definitely need a business address and a business number. You can use Google Voice. You can use, what do I use? Sideline. It's a lot of different places that you can use get a number, a free number. You can use, just look for a business address and number. You can do like a suite, something like that. Just do not use your own personal address. You want to have hours of operation. And that's actually part of something that I put in that information, extra information that they don't ask you, but they will when they come in, like, talk to you about your application. So if you just add that to your application beforehand, it puts you a little bit ahead of the game. So know your hours of operation. You should have a logo and branding. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Separate yourself from other PNCC agencies. And then when I talk about logo and branding, if that's not your lane, I highly recommend to hire somebody to do that. You can definitely look on Fiverr. You can look on, hire people from the Philippines. I have a graphic design person who is amazing. He works 20 hours a week, 4 weeks, and he gets paid $383 a month. And that sounds like a very low amount because it is. However, in the Philippines, that's a lot. Their money is different. So I always recommend working with somebody in the Philippines. Now, finding somebody that's good is hard, but my guy is amazing. So the next thing, number 6, have a business plan. It's going to help you plan for your present, your future, the growth, your financials. You want to think about having that. You definitely want a business bank account. And again, you want to keep yourself separate from your business. And this was one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people made that stopped them from getting the PPP loan. They did not have a business bank account. All their money that they made went into their personal account. You do not want to commingle your funds. Very bad. And then another best tip, start to build business credit. I didn't learn about business credit until like after 5 years that I've been in business. Had I known from the very beginning, I definitely would have been using other people's money and not mine from the very beginning, but I didn't know about business credit. I know it now, and now I teach it. So you definitely want to make sure you start working on that. You want to know how to hire people, how to terminate people. You want to have your contracts. You want to have your onboarding, like how are you going to train them? Again, consult with a lawyer on contracts to make sure you are covered. You want to have business insurance. If you did not take I did a 3-day challenge. I think it was back in like May or June. It was a 3-day challenge called Girl Get Your Business Right. And we talked about everything under the sun when it comes to getting your business right. And one of the things, the biggest things that I talked about too was business insurance, because we don't tend to get that. And it's just like car insurance. You don't miss it until you need it. Like you're like, oh, I don't have it, and this person is suing me. So just it's not expensive. It sounds expensive. Business insurance is not expensive. I think even for my kids spa, I pay like $300 for the entire year. So it's not expensive, but just make sure you look into it so that you can have it for your business. Number 11. QuickBooks. And don't forget, if you guys have questions, you can always add that to the chat. I know some people are putting stuff in there, but questions you can add to the chat. QuickBooks. I'm a huge fan of QuickBooks because you log in, all your business information is in there. Your bank accounts are attached. If you have a CPA, which I highly recommend that you do, they can just watch and run your books in QuickBooks. You can monitor your mileage in QuickBooks. You can do invoices, etc. Like I'm just a huge fan of QuickBooks, and learning how to do this part is a huge part of being a business, because for many years in my business, I was the business person at the end of the year that was going through all my bank accounts, trying to look, okay, what was this and what was this, and let me put this together. When I got my CPA, and my CPA actually and a bookkeeper, both of them would be able to access all the information when it comes to QuickBooks. So, and then the last thing for the best tip for your business is to have a team: CPA, attorney, graphic artist, a copyright person. When I got my copyright person, I feel like that was the best decision I've ever made in business, because she's amazing. She keeps everything, as far as like she sends my emails out. She helps with the social media posts, with like reels. I don't have time for all of that. But because I don't have time for all of that, when I hire my copyright person, literally she can take my trainings and make them into great content. And she's just amazing. So you definitely need a copyright person on your team. Now, we talked about your application. We talked about best tips for your business. Now let's talk about how do you run your business, because we don't want you to be like just any old PNCC agency out there, especially those that really don't know how to run properly because they didn't get trained. It's no knock to anybody, but if nobody is training, how do you do it properly when you have the handbook that's already confusing? So, number one, and I get a lot of people ask me about this, your SOPs. Your SOPs are your standard operating procedures. This is actually in your handbook. It's in both the PNCC handbook and the CCC handbook, and they give you guidelines on what they look for. So they look for, how do you find your clients? How do you submit your billing? How do you enroll your clients? How do you hire people? How do you fire people? Like, it's a lot. It literally took me 2 years to do my SOPs, and not because it was a lot. I mean, it is a lot, but it took me 2 years because it was very tedious. I didn't want to do it. I just didn't. So it took me 2 years to get those done. But I do help people and train people on how to do them. And a lot of people use my SOPs as a guide. Number two, for running your agency, who is on your team? And what I'm talking about team is actually operating in the PNCC agency. So your care coordinators / case managers. I call them case managers because that's a universal term. Care coordinators are not, but care coordinator is what the state calls your workers. So that's why I say they're interchangeable. Who are your managers? Who are your directors? Who's on your HR, marketing team, etc. So you want to have a business? Welcome to having a business. You need to have these type of people in your organization. You will drive yourself crazy if you try to do all of this yourself. So I'm huge on hiring people and getting your team together so that you can be more effective, especially as the owner. You want to help grow your business, not actually be an employee of your business, or a case manager. You want to start hiring case managers, and then you want to have managers who manage them, and directors who manage the managers, and an HR team who hire people. Like, so you need all of these different people to help you. They're on your team. Number 3, when are your deadlines? So again, you want to be consistent. You want to be, so if you need paperwork turned in, you can let people know that. So that is huge when it comes to running your business. A lot of people have not necessarily an issue, but a hard time with being a boss, because, when we were employees at other people's, working a 9-to-5, a lot of people didn't like their boss. So sometimes it's hard to become that person that people don't like. But when this is your business, you kind of have to step into that role. And you know what? You turned this in late to several times. If you turn in late again, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to terminate you. So you have to have your rules very clear and concise, and you have to be consistent with your terms and policies. And again, that's where those SOPs come in. How do you store your paperwork? Do you have systems? Will you be ready when, not if, when the state comes to do an audit? Are you ready? What are your systems? Again, that's another place where those SOPs come in. How are you servicing your client? Are you going to be different? Are you going to stand out from the other PNCC agencies? One of my biggest pet peeves is people, and this is even at the state level now, because of the articles, people look at PNCC now as just those places that offer free diapers and wipes. Like, literally, that's what we've been reduced to. And that is not what we are about at all. The bare minimum of what this program is, if you did not know, we are resource service. If you have a client that comes to you and say, I'm having trouble with my rent, you're going to refer them to the community advocates or any other place that can help them with their rent. If they say they're having trouble with their lights, they can't pay the bill, you're going to refer them to, again, probably community advocates or We Energies, and get them set up on, hardship or whatever. So like we refer people to places to help them with their risk factors. Now, can you give diapers and wipes? Yes, but that is not what we are about, because you can also refer them to the Women's Care Center on the east side, and they give away free diapers, wipes, cribs, clothes, et cetera, et cetera. They give that away too. And then for the client to be able to have those things for free, they have to first take a class. Now, whether it's a class on breastfeeding or a class on how to change a diaper or a class on siblings, whatever, they take the class, they get a voucher to go shop in the store. I had one client who was pregnant with twins, and she got 2 cribs for free from the Women's Care Center because she was taking classes. So you don't have to give diapers and wipes. Like, you don't have to do that. We refer people to the places to get these things. And yeah, that's just my biggest thing. And when you open, you're gonna have, and I'm gonna just be very transparent and honest with you, it's rough right now, because a lot of clients have been conditioned or taught that gimme, what can you do for me? I want this, and if you can't give me this, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Well, you don't want those clients anyway, because how you get them is how you got to keep them. And again, the whole point of this program is for PNCC to promote healthy pregnancy, and then CCC is to promote healthy parenting or positive parenting. I can't do that if I'm always like, you can give them wipes or whatever, but we're teaching them how to fish, not always giving the fish, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna get off that soapbox. You probably heard me talk about this a lot in my lives, because that's just my biggest pet peeve, where people think that's what we are, and that's not. And that's actually now considered bribery because you're bribing the clients to come into your agency. So number 6, let's move on. Number 6, keep track of your success. At some point, the state, they will want to start seeing results, especially after what just happened this year. So how are you measuring your results? How many successful pregnancies have you had? Any miscarriages? How many people have successfully stopped smoking while pregnant? Or how many people successfully bought a house or, graduated and got their GED or HSCD? Are you keeping track of all of this information? Because we're doing it, but nobody's teaching us or agencies how to track it. And eventually the state will want to see, because right now, all they see is the infant mortality rate is still high. And then they're like, how are we spending all of this money and giving these PNCC agencies all this money and the infant mortality rate is still high? So you want to learn and figure out how to track your success. Number 7, this is a big one, especially after what has happened this year. Keep your company's integrity. Now, when I say what happened this year, we don't know anything. We just know what the papers have said, and the papers do not paint a pretty picture. However, people are innocent until proven guilty. However, when I say keep your company's integrity, and I teach my students a lot, you want to stay away from what appears to be something, right? Because if it matches up, or if it looks like a dog, bark like a dog, it might be a dog. So I'm gonna make sure that my company does not sound like a dog or look like a dog. I'm gonna go over here and make it a duck. Okay, so when I say keep your company's integrity, if you're not out there working with clients and you have, let's say, 10 contractors or case managers that work with clients, how are you keeping track of what they're doing? Because this program, in all honesty, is based on honesty, because they're going to send in their paperwork and they're going to say, hey, I met with client so-and-so on this day, this day, this day. I was there for an hour and 10 minutes, and then I was there for 37 minutes. We don't know that for sure. We just know based on what they're saying. So how do you keep track of the people that represent your job or your company? So that's very important, especially again with the atmosphere of this program. You want to know what your workers are out there doing. What are they saying? How are they dressing? Because again, they're representing you and your brand and your company. And that's important. And then number 8, audits. Are you doing constant audits? Are you doing them monthly, quarterly? Are you calling the client saying, hey, your person said that she met with you 3 times this week. How did it go? And she's going to be like, oh, I didn't even talk to her. Now there's a problem. So you want to be always audit in different times what's going on in your company. And you want to always make sure that you're always checking the care plans and making sure that your workers are doing work from the care plan and not just doing anything. And I actually teach this in the mentorship, but I'm going to just give y'all this right now. One of the biggest things from the care plan, if it's not on the care plan, you cannot do it. An example of that is, let's say when you did the assessment, your person has a job. So of course, on the care plan, you don't have anything in there that says looking for a job. And let's say you've been working with her for 2 months, and all of a sudden she gets fired. And now she's saying, hey, so-and-so, can you help me look for a job? And you say, yes, I'll help you look for a job. And then you just start helping her look for a job. And you're putting it in the notes. Well, if you never updated that care plan to say she lost her job and now she needs assistance with looking for a job, you're in the wrong, and they're going to take that money back because you're doing work outside of the care plan. So you want to make sure that everything you do, everything your workers do is first on that care plan. And if it's not, all you got to do is a care plan update. That's it. And now you can, so just go update that care plan, say she lost a job, she needs help. Now you can help her. Really easy. How are you training your people? Again, we talked about that, onboarding and training, any updates. How are you growing? Do you have goals? Are you monitoring your goals? Are you setting milestones to make sure you do your goals, whether it's monthly, quarterly, yearly? Are you tracking that? Are you educating both your clients and your workers? So are you holding workshops for the community? Is your qualified professional teaching health and nutrition, or nutrition counseling? Like, is that person out there doing that? Are you teaching and helping in the community? So that's something you definitely want to be doing. And then lastly, partnerships. You want to make sure that you're building your brand, you're building your name, you're building, if you want to be successful, you want people to know you and your brand and trust you. And you can't do that in just your office. And that's really me talking to me, because when I started, I was fine with just being little old me in my office and only working with my handful of clients, and I was good. But I had to get outside of my bubble because I'm an introvert. Most people don't believe me based on all these teachings I do, but I'm very much an introvert. And so partnerships was something that was hard for me. But now I do it all the time. Like I do it all the time, and we're growing our company. So if you want to be successful, you need to look into partnerships. How can you partner with another company to help both your company, your clients, and their company? So get a little bonuses here for you guys. Branding your company. Branding is more than just your colors, your logo, your typography, because that's a part of it, but it's more than just that, because your brand speaks when you're not in the room. People will remember your brand. They will come to trust your brand. They will be comfortable with your brand. People will choose you over your competitor because of your brand. How are people talking about you? My Boss Lady University, a lot of my students came from word of mouth. Not because I don't do advertising, I don't do ads, I don't do anything. And I've had so many students in my Boss Lady University because of my brand and how I represent myself. So you want to make sure you stay consistent. So if you choose some colors, get those hex codes, stay consistent with your colors, get your logo, get your typography. You want a memorable impression on your customers. When somebody, they can see my logo and they know it's me. And I mean, they've seen my commercial. I don't know if you guys see my commercial, but I have a commercial out there and it's all based on my brand. So it helps with the expectation. Your customers are going to know what they're going to get from you. And again, it sets you apart from other PNCC agencies. So here's another bonus for you guys. When it comes to marketing, you have social media, email marketing, SEO, print marketing. Again, you are a real business. You want to learn about all these different things. You want to get your name out there. And again, I always think about big businesses like the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts. I think of businesses like that because in my community agency, I want to have other programs. How are they running their programs? How are they getting their information out? So you look at that and see how you can tailor what you do to be similar, but still you. So are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, etc.? Do you have your email list? Are you collecting emails? Emails are huge. Are you sending out newsletters? Then you have SEO. This comes in with your website, using keywords all over your website and other advertising. And then you still got print marketing, where it's billboards, magazines, newsletters, etc. So the last segment we are going to talk about today. Are you guys taking good notes? Is this good information? I know I've been talking a bit. Let me see some feedback really quick. Is this helping you guys? Go ahead and put in the chat box. Is this helping you? So while you guys are typing that, yes, this is good information. Yes. Okay, great. Because, it's always different when I'm just talking. And I know you guys are over there, but I can't see anybody. So yes. Okay, great. I'm glad this is helping you guys. So you will start your business and you will do the application, and then you guys are all going to be open and you're going to be running your business and you're going to be amazing. And then you're going to get to the point where, you know what, I want to scale. How do I do that? You got to start off first with a plan. You need a plan. So money does not accidentally make itself based on the type of goals that you want, right? Now, I want to say actually my first 6 figures was an accident, but I was just working my butt off because I really loved what I was doing. But it's easier when you have a plan, okay? So if we're talking specifically right now about PNCC, So how do you get to whatever number goal it is? Because everybody's first number goal is going to be different. Okay, so whatever that number goal is for you, and I'm talking about numbers because again, and to me, this is a business, and I had a hard time. I actually talked to one of my mentors about this. I had a hard time with bringing numbers up when it comes to PNCC, right? Because of what just happened this year, where the news article blasted all the people who was making the money and whatever. And then of course, clients and contractors start being in people's pocket. It was like, oh, well, you make this so much off of me and you make this so much. You don't know how much I make off. Like it just became a whole ugly thing. And then some people were trying to start this because they saw so-and-so make a whole bunch of money and I want to make a whole bunch of money. And I'm gonna first tell y'all, and I tell all my students this, and then when they go through my training, they were like, you know what, you right, you told me. And I tell, it is a lot of paperwork. So if you really want to make a lot of money and you're only doing this for money, there are so many other businesses that you can hit $1 million, 7 figures, 6 figures, whatever. There are so many other businesses that you can do with least amount of stress than this. Okay, this business can be very stressful. I've actually had several posts where my students will comment on it and say, you know what, you're right, the paperwork, you have 400 clients, that paperwork is a lot. Okay, so going back to the numbers, so I say that to say that at the end of the day, you're still a business. And when you're a business, you have business bills. You're going to have contractors. You're going to have people working for you. And they're going to rely on your business to make money because that's how you pay them. So at the end of the day, you need to make money. Okay. So how many clients do you need to get to that number goal? This is how you plan. If you say you need, let's just give 100 clients. Okay, well, how many case managers do you need to be able to service 100 clients? Let's just say you want to have 20. Okay, so you want to have 20 case managers to service 100 clients. Now you're going to say, well, how many program managers do I need to monitor 20 case managers? So that's how you're going to start with your plan. And then once you have those numbers, then you start to hire. Once you start to hire, then you go get the clients. Okay, so like you have to have a plan to get to whatever number that is. Then you want to map it out. So you're going to write all this down and it's going to be great, but it's just going to be written down if you don't actually map it out. Like let's say you use a whiteboard and you have it all pretty and you color code it and it looks great. But if you don't map it out so that you can do it, it's not going to get done. So you need to make SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You're going to make them SMART goals and then you're going to place them on your calendar. You're going to give yourself deadlines. Okay. Number 3, who is on your team? So again, that's talking about your case managers, your clients, your HR, your directors, your marketing people, your copyright people. All of those people matter. And also your CPA and your attorney. All of these people matter because let's say you get to your first 6 figures. If you don't have a CPA on board, you know how much you're paying in taxes. Let's say you make it to your first $1 million. If you don't have an attorney or if you don't have your CPA, accountant, bookkeeper, you know how much you're paying back in taxes. Like you need people on your team to help you. Like they're like, let me help you. Help me help you. Okay. You need a great team. And then what will you do with your income? So let's say your goal is to hit that 6 figures or your goal is to hit that 7 figures. What are you doing with that? You cannot pocket that all. Let me tell you why. Taxes. If you make $1 million and let's say you keep 500,000 of it, you know how much taxes you paying on 500,000? A lot. So you need people on your team, especially again, a CPA that's going to help you strategize. Go buy that building that you've been eyeing so that you can, apartment building, so that you know that majority of your clients are homeless. Go buy an apartment complex and then do transitional housing for your clients. That's a tax write-off. Okay. So you have to have a plan for whatever amount of money that you're going to be bringing in. Are you going to do bonuses for your team? Are you going to, it has to be a plan. Please do not pocket it all, because more money, more problems. I already said taxes, and then the audit. Oh my gosh, that audit. They come after people who make big money. So if you don't have your ducks in a row, you in bad shape. People hate successful people, unfortunately. It's unfortunate to say, especially in Milwaukee. So, we can definitely change that narrative. But if you're flaunting your money, and if you're doing whatever and you're making big money and you're not out, whatever, people will report just to report because they don't like it, because you're doing better than them, whatever. So have accountability. Make sure that you are spending your money wisely. So how do you scale your business? We talked about marketing, and then you gotta have a brand, you gotta have systems, great service. So you gotta service your clients very well. And again, it's not just giving them diapers and wipes. So what's your niche? So for me, when I was a case manager, because I'm always been an entrepreneur at heart, I was always talking to my clients about starting a business. So right now, to this day, majority of the clients that I had have businesses. I have some people who have cleaning companies, a nanny service, a daycare. They have started businesses because that's what I talked about. So how are you going to service your clients? How are you going to be different from everybody else? How are you going to change their life? That's how you provide great service. Change their life for the better. Okay. You got to have a great team. You cannot do this by yourself. You cannot scale your business by yourself. You will drive yourself crazy. You got to have great clients. Now, not all your clients are going to be great, but if you have a great onboarding process for clients too, and when you lay the rules down, this is what we are and this is what we are not. And if you're looking for this line over here, that what we are not, you are in the wrong place. And that's kind of how you set the tone for your clients. So you got to have great clients. You got to have proper education for your team and for yourself, especially if you're new to running a business. It's a lot that goes into being a business owner. And then you want to be in the community. You want to be getting your name out there in a positive way. That's going to help you scale. So any questions? Any questions? You guys actually did a good job with putting questions throughout. So somebody say, I'm taking plenty of notes and I can't wait to work with you. I can't wait to work with you too. So in our time together so far, we went over starting your business, which is pretty much the application process. We went over running your business and scaling your business. But of course, it's so much information. Again, that handbook is a lot, but it doesn't teach you how. It tell you what to do, but not the how. I can't go over all the hows in this 1 hour masterclass. So how would you guys like to keep this going and working with me? Because I'm pretty sure by now, again, you guys been in the PNCC community, you've been to my lives, you've seen this masterclass. You can tell. If you can't tell by now, I'm pretty sure you can. I love teaching, and I love teaching this. Where do you find the application? The application for the PNCC program is on the Forward Health website. So these are just some of the testimonials from some of my students. I'm pretty sure you guys seen this in the group. I have a ton of students. I have a ton of testimonials. These are just the pretty ones. But yeah, I love to teach. I actually, just another brief history really quick. I used to think that I was going to be an elementary school teacher. And so as a kid, during the summers, I would teach all of my cousins. We would be in my grandmother's basement and we would have school. My uncle was a teacher, and then he became a principal, and he would give me all his teaching material. And I'm like the boss, I'm the oldest grandchild. So I was always the teacher, and I just knew I wanted to be a teacher. But then I went to college and started doing elementary education and did a practicum, was inside, I think, a 4th grade classroom. I was like, this is not my audience. So I changed my major and I went into community education. Still never quite knew at that point what I wanted to teach, but this is definitely it. This is my lane. I love to teach women how to be successful business owners, and that is what I'm doing. Here are some more testimonials. Let's see, I have a question. I have put in the application and lost my $500 because I can't do the insurance companies. Yeah, so the only one is the United Healthcare, but again, that's back to who you get. So you can just have the plan of when you get open, you're going to go get the MOU from United Healthcare and, you know, go from there. You just write that out because they know right now United Healthcare is not signing MOUs, but somebody just said United Healthcare just signed for them. So I don't know 100% for that to be factual, but somebody just said that. So I don't know. Did you start off with a team or gradually? Ooh, that's a good question. This is what I tell everybody to do. Start off gradually because, and I've actually had people do the opposite of what I said. And I'm gonna tell you what happened to her in a second. But me, like I said, I started off as a client, then a case manager, then a program manager, and then I opened my own. So I had the experience in all the different areas, right? So when I opened my own, I was just my only case manager for almost a year. And also I still had my 9-to-5 job. Okay. So I did not quit right away either. Everybody's story is different. And when I had enough money saved, I felt comfortable with quitting my job. Then I quit my job knowing that I had my other business and that income was more than what I was making at my 9-to-5. Once I quit my 9-to-5, I then went to hire, and I think I hired like 3 people. And it was enough for me to also be program manager and case manager. But then when I got to the point where I ended up hiring, I think I had like 5 or 7 case managers. I no longer was a case manager and I just was program manager. And then I got to a certain point where it's like, you know what? I don't want to be program manager anymore either. So then I hired a program manager. So my process was gradual. Now I did have a student who was ready to go full steam ahead. And because she's had a business before, I think she had like 2 daycares. And so she started her PNCC agency. She was open. I helped her open. And she got her clients and she got her care coordinators and she hired people, not even contractors. She did employees, which I always say contractors. And she was just, money was just flowing. It was bleeding from her. And she was like, I'm just not making any money. And I'm like, well, what did you do? And she told me, I'm like, well, there's why, because you have more expenses than you have income right now. And that's the opposite of what you want to happen as a business. So when you start off slow, you can kind of learn what you're doing, especially as a new business owner. You just gradually get into those different spaces instead of forcing yourself to be something that you're not yet. Okay. So yeah, my process was definitely gradual. So yeah, these are the testimonials from 2 of my other students who I have worked with. Somebody said I did the same thing, but I was with my Barbie dolls. Yeah, I knew I was gonna be a teacher. I didn't know what, but I knew I was gonna be a teacher because I love to teach. I can't help it. It's something that just happens even when I'm not intending for it to happen. So you have 2 choices today that you can make based on everything that I just talked about. Number 1, you can definitely DIY it. You spend hundreds and maybe thousands to figure it out. You get frustrated, and a lot of people have quit the process because it's confusing, it's frustrating. I've actually seen, and this is again, no knock to anybody, but you know, people come to my inbox. I've seen people pay $4,000 for people to do their application for them. And they got a binder and some people didn't even get approved. And they spent $4,000 just for this application process. That's not even teaching how to run the business, how to do billing or anything like that. It literally was $4,000 just for the application. Okay. So Yes, you can spend hundreds and thousands trying to figure it out yourself, or you can learn from the proven system with someone who just haven't just done it. I mastered it and I teach other people. And I say proven system is because I have created numerous amount, I really don't get that number of successful companies that are right now open and are successful. And I actually have some people who are not open. They did the partnership with me and are successful. One of my first people who did the partnership with me made it to 6 figures in 7 months just through the partnership. And she did not have her place 100% open yet, but she was building her business. So now she actually is very close. She's waiting for the final word to her being open. So it works. So I've introduced to you guys the PNCC University. So I have talked about it before, but now it's officially launched. It has its own logo. Y'all see a little baby belly. So my graphic design person did that. So I introduced to you guys PNCC University. So this is for you if you are ready to start your agency. You're tired of feeling all that anxiety. You're tired of being lost. You're tired of just not knowing what to do. This is for you if you want to run it the right way, because again, there are a lot of people who also open this were case managers under another company. And then when they came to me, they found out that they were actually learning it the wrong way, because I teach from the perspective of an audit, how to cover yourself. And a lot of other agencies are not covering themselves. And then this is also you if you want to scale your business. So what do you get inside of PNCC University? So again, if you're in the group, you might know this information already. So of course, if you are not approved yet, you have the opportunity to partner with my business to start building your business. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to be using your name and you're going to be enrolling your clients and you're going to be working with your clients, and then you bill through me as a subcontractor. When you are open, all the clients that you enroll, you take them with you. I do not keep anybody's clients, okay? Number 2, inside of the university, we go over the CC handbook. And when I say we go over it, I don't just read it, I explain it. What does it mean? Okay, this is what it means, and this is also what it looks like. Okay, so we go over the CCC handbook, the PNCC handbook, making sure you have your legal foundation done. We're going to talk about the SOPs. You're going to create them for both your PNCC program and the CCC program. Again, it took me 2 years to do that on my own. We're going to talk about billing for both program with the new codes that came out in March. And then as soon as the state of emergency is over, there's going to be some new ones. We're going to go over the navigation of the Forward Health Portal. We're going to talk about audits and making sure I don't want to say audit proof, because you will be paying money back. Let's just be frank. They're going to find something, right? But we want to minimize how much you have to pay back. I've definitely seen some people pay back $50,000. When I had my audit, I think it was like $5,000, like $5,700, something like that. We're going to talk about outreach. Everybody in the university gets a voucher to Mexico for 8 days and 7 nights for only $299. You also get help with your PNCC application if needed. Some people don't need it because they submitted already. Actually, I take that back, because even if you submitted it, you might still need help. So a lot of my people who went to my phase 2 and didn't do phase 1, they still came to me for help for the phase 1, and they paid for that separately. But now it's actually included. We do goal setting. We do make sure you get an office, because this is something that's new. Like, we don't want to just have it inside your house anymore. We're going to talk about that. We're going to create a budget for your business. We're going to walk through hiring staff. We're going to have an organization flow chart of staff members. And what does that look like? We're going to do the back end business organization. We're going to do marketing, business credit, building partnerships in the community, walk through government certifications. And this is actually something new, because I have one of my closest friends, she works with government certifications, and 7 years later, I'm just now doing my government certifications because I didn't know about it, but now I do. So guess what? Everybody that know me about to know about it too. And then, so this is a 12-week course that we're going to go through together. Okay. And we're going to have implementation weeks, and then we're going to have group calls. We're also going to talk about business loan opportunities to scale your business. And then there is funding available for those who cannot, like if you cannot just full out do the payment, there is a third party funding. So if you have not heard my story, I no longer do payment plans. Why? People fail to finish the payment plan and they get all the information. And also people like to do back charges or chargebacks saying that they didn't get whatever when they did. So I kind of changed how I do this. So it's either a full payment or it is funding, third party funding. I am offering this time only if you cannot get into this course, because this is only gonna, once this closes, enrollment closes October 31st, and it will not open again until next year, in probably like March, April, May, somewhere around there. So if you cannot afford it now, I am accepting a payment plan for the next class, that's next year. But we'll talk about that. Like we'll have to talk about that separately, okay? But there will be a bonus 1 week in-person training, and then there will also be a PNCC application in-person workshop if you need help with your application. So it'll be in person. So this course is worth $25,000. Y'all want to know how I know? Because I actually took a course that's $25,000. My mentorship that I did last year was $25,000. Best decision I ever made in my life. My branding definitely scaled. Everything scaled once I took this class. And not to toot my own horn, my academy is very hands-on to where literally I walk you through everything step by step. Like I'm literally holding your hand through the entire process. And we're meeting almost every week, and you're going to get your business to 6 figures working with me. So it is worth $25,000, but I don't charge $25,000. Like I'm not there. Eventually I will be charging $25,000 eventually, but I don't charge nowhere near $25,000. So to get started with me now, the website is at the top. And like I said, open enrollment is to the 31st of October. If you get funding, and you can go to that website, and funding is available on the website. It's $5,000 if you do funding. If you do a one payment, it's $4,500 for one payment. Now, if you cannot do neither, and you want to do this program, like I said, you just got to inbox me, and we can definitely talk about payment plan for next year's class. But I am not doing a payment plan for this one. We start November 1st. Let me go to the next screen. We start November 7th. I apologize. We start November 7th. Like I said, it's a 12-week class. And we're going to have that in-person PNCC application workshop in November. We're going to have an in-person training workshop in December. And then there's weekly Thursday calls to go over everything. So people throughout the process have a ton of questions. And while you're out there working with clients, you're going to have a ton of questions. And it's going to be, I am going to say it's going to be an hour, but my last cohort, they sometimes had me on the Zoom for like 2.5 hours. And I'm like, okay, guys, I need to go to bed. But yeah, so I'm here for you guys to walk you through the entire process to get you going. And really, I'm always trying to help people get to 6 figures, because once you get to 6 figures, you're going to realize 6 figures is not enough, especially if you got kids. So our first goal is to get you to 6 figures in this program. So any questions? Any questions? So funding, when you go to that website, you need at least a 620 credit score, and you need to make over, I think, 40,000 in your job. So over 40,000 and a 620 credit score to get funding. How can we partner with you? The only way to partner with me is to be enrolled in my course. That's the only way I partner with anybody, because you go through this teaching and training, and then you work with me. Also, will we be able to rewatch this? Yes, there will be a replay because my fabulous marketing team, hi marketing team, they're going to take this video and of course do some amazing things to it. And we're going to send out the replay. And then I'm also going to advertise this as well. So the class will fill up. I haven't decided how many students I'm going to take because, of course, I want to give you guys one-on-one attention. So I'll probably only do 10 to 15 people. And so you guys get access to this first. But after that, it's going to go out to a lot of different people. And I'm actually going to put ads out for this too. So it will fill up. So I'm giving it to the 31st, but it more than likely will be filled up before the 31st. But thank you, that's a good question. Any other questions? My next goal, so I did say my first goal is to get everybody to 6 figures. My next goal is I'm trying to help people get to 7 figures. I am currently a care coordinator with another agency. Do I have to partner with you to take this course? Absolutely not. You don't have to partner with me. Me offering the partnership is just, it was an alternative because the state stopped processing applications last year. And so I think it was around this time last year when I first offered the opportunity to partner with me. Before that, I was just teaching. So yeah, you don't have to partner with me to do the course. Good question. Any other questions? I don't want to rush you guys off, but we are done, but I am definitely still here to answer your questions. All right, well, if there are no more questions, that is it. Make sure to go visit bossladyvz.com/PNCC University. That is how you sign up for the class. And also, you're so welcome. She just said, thank you for hosting. Yeah, I am excited to see you guys. I just seen somebody sign up. I'm excited to see you guys in class. And I just really, it's about 13 people on still right now. I want to see these 13 people with their business open, making 6 figures and going to 7 figures. So that is my goal. All right, ladies. That is another good question. Can we pay for certain lessons, courses? Like, I do not separate the classes. No, that's a good question though. I have been asked that in the past, but because the course is worth more than what it is, there's no way for me to like, it doesn't make sense to separate it because there's over 18 classes. Each class is going to be a lot. So yeah, I don't do that. But good question. All right, guys, you enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you all in the group.